beloved and holy and only child of our Heavenly Father, child of the one source, child of light divine. I am the one known as Jeshua ben Joseph. Jesus, you have called me. And it is in great joy that I come to abide with you this evening in your timing, as you have chosen to call me forth. Great joy, always. Great joy is your true nature, as you have found, and as you are remembering now and bringing to this point of focus. Great joy is your true nature. And whenever you would find yourself outside of the feeling of joy, allow yourself to pause for a moment and to remember that you are loved of the Father from before time began. You are perfect. You are whole. You are beautiful. You are radiant. And your true nature is holiness, wholeness, and from that comes your joy. Now, the world would tell you otherwise. The world would tell you that there are many things that you must do. Always goals to be attained. Always a bit more of the perfection that you must seek. The classes that you must take, the workshops that you must hold, the studies, the successes, all of the endeavors. But you are coming to the place of knowing that there can be joy even in the accomplishment of what the world will ask you to be doing. For you will remember that you are in the world, yes, for you have chosen, you have agreed that you will be in the world for a time. But you are not of the world. And so you will do the worldly activities as they need to be done, extending the love of the Father. And you will remember that your true nature is joy. It is to bring the happiness, the wholeness, the love of the Father into expression right here and right now, so that others of the brothers and sisters can behold your joy and know that they also can drink from that cup. For indeed, if there is no one among you who would be outrageous enough, and I see she has just arrived. Thank you. If there would not be one among you who would be outrageous enough to claim the joy of the Holy Child, then the brothers and sisters have not a clue. But as you allow yourself to smile, even through all of the upheavals, they will look upon you and they will say, well, there is one who is a bit outrageous. A bit strange, perhaps, but what does she know? Obviously, she knows something that I don't know, because I think this is a heavy place to be. And yet she can go through all of her challenges, her questionings, her decisions, and still hold a place of light within her heart. What does she know? And they will come and they will ask of you, for they know your history. They know that you have had your challenges. You have had relationships. You have had the changes of employment. And they know that you are seeking. And they will come and they will say to you, hey, tell me, what is it really? What do you know? And you will say, I am beginning to claim my true nature. There is a part deep within me, within my heart, that knows that this is not all that there is. There is a part of me that would express and would allow the others to know the love of the Father. And maybe I cannot quite put it into what the textbooks would write about. Perhaps I cannot even prove it. But I know it. It is called living with faith. For you know deep within you that life is worthwhile, that there is something worth living for. And even if the challenges would come, you still keep looking to the next day for the bright spark, do you not? You know that it is in there somewhere, and if you look far enough, you will find it. True nature of the Holy Child is the smile upon the face. It is the joy that says, perhaps I don't have all of my ducks in order according to the world, but my Father loves me. I am loved, and I am loved. And I know that I am home. Somewhere deep within me, I know home. All of you have felt a deep homesickness. All of you in this lifetime have searched, and you have felt a bit out of place from time to time. And you have felt, I want to go home again. I want to know the love of home again. And you have asked yourself, is it the home that I knew when I was growing up? Is it the home that my parents provided for me? No. Is it the home that I even provided for my young ones? No. Is it a home that I knew, perhaps in some geographical location, that meant a lot to me because I put a lot of myself into it? No, it's not even that, although that has brought me joy. But I have found that I could release it and move on and recreate it, the beauty and the joy again. You have tried recreating home in many different ways, many different times. And yet you have not felt quite at home, not quite fulfilled. And you have asked of the Father, you have asked of me, you have asked of the brothers and sisters, please show me the way home. Where is home? And then in a moment of enlightenment, you have looked into another one's eyes, and you have beheld the love in those eyes. And you have said, that is home. I am home. And you have smiled, and you have shared with another one the words of encouragement, the hug, the laughter, the upliftment. And you have known home. Now, this point of focus, this lifetime, this awareness called consciousness, right here that you identify with, is this home? It is part of home, but it is not all of home. Or indeed, you bring your remembrance of home to this place, and you allow it to be made manifest every time you choose for peace, every time you choose for love. But is this the only point of focus where you are finding home? Is this the only point of focus where you are seeking to know home? No, it is not. For in this evening, we have chosen to speak of other dimensional life forms. Quite appropriate in your month that would celebrate and honor the life forms known as the leprechaun, the elves, the little people. And by that I do not mean just the ones who are short in stature, but the little people who are very much alive and well and in expression even now. And there are some of you and some of the brothers and sisters who can behold the leprechauns, the little people, who can behold the fairies and the elves. They know very well that those life forms are as real as what you choose to call reality. If you will receive it in another time as you see time to be, you have known expression as one of the little people. And you know now their company. For indeed, whenever there is invitation and welcome, they come to make their presence known. They come to share joy with you. They come to share the expandedness of the Father's love in expression whenever there is invitation and welcome. Why would you call forth into a remembrance life forms such as leprechauns and elves if it were not true? In other words, where does that idea come from? It comes from what you would see as a past history, a past knowing, when you have danced as the fairy. And you know well that feeling, for it dances inside of you even now when you allow it to come forth. The size of form is relative, is it not? Even in this day and time, the bodies that you recognize, they come in all different sizes, shapes. Even yours has changed. All of you. And you have known the small expression, you have known the tall expression. You have known also the creatures that would be called out of your mythical stories, the unicorns, the Pegasus. Are these real? Yes. If you will receive it, they are as real as what you feel reality now to be. You have known life forms, many variations of life forms. Your mythology is full of realities that you have brought forth, realities with a small r, within the drama and the adventure of the Holy Child. And all of those life forms are with you now, although just perhaps beyond the fingertips of what you call reality. Will you see them again? Beloved brother, you tell me. Yes. If it is your desire, you will see them again. In form that you will be able to reach out and touch. Already now you can converse with those ones. And they're waiting just a while for your belief in process, your belief in time. They're waiting just a while until you will see them again, right here with you. For indeed they are with you, even now as we speak. They are with you in the mind as we speak of unicorns. They are with you in the heart as you have the feeling of the unicorn. For unicorns are most playful, and they desire to remind you again of your playful nature. And the Pegasus, you have expressed as the winged one that would fly, even though the form would seem to be too heavy. You know flight. Even now you have the miracle of what you would call your metallic bird that is too heavy to fly. And yet, you know it for a truth that it goes up in the air and it will fly great distances. And yet ones out of another time would look upon that metallic bird and say, no way would that bird get up in the air. But you know, because of your belief, you know that it will taxi down the runway, as it is called, and pretty soon it is up in the air. Why? Because you believe that it will be up in the air.
I'm afraid.
Indeed, if you find yourself, according to your belief, sitting inside of it. And yet I would ask of you, even in the moment when you find yourself, in belief, sitting inside of it, where is it? It is within you. Otherwise it would not exist. You will see the ones that you have called to be in the past. You will see them coming to be with you in expression and experience again. You will come to know other life forms upon this plane, this dimension as well. Forms that you would behold now and say to be miraculous. Radiant forms, quite tall as your tallest buildings. They will appear in your backyard. They will come to be with you. You will see ones of the Space Brothers, yes, coming to be with you. Will they have form that you recognize? Some of them. Some will come and give you opportunity to question as to what form is and what life is, and whether you can look upon a different form in love or from the habitual place of fear. For you have taught yourselves that if there is something different, appearing strange, in this place of duality, perhaps you'd better run first to save the form. We have spoken often of how there has been, by design, the identification with the body, with the form. And because you have desired to know intimately physicality and the form that you now identify with, there has been a temporary forgetting of the spirit that activates the body. So the body calls out to you quite intensely and says to save me. And you know fear from the body. The spirit does not fear, but the body will speak in very loud tones and clarity. Let's get out of here. Save me. So there is the habitual reaction if something seems a bit strange, to abide in fear, at least until you can analyze it. Let us be logical about this.
Sounds fun.
Let's have some input of data here. And if you cannot give the body the data quick enough, let's run first. And then we will reconsider. You will see beautiful life forms of brothers and sisters coming to be with you, radiant ones. And I will share with you, beloved ones, that what you behold is not foreign to you. It is you, in expression as well. For if, and it is not an if because you can, you will take a deep breath and ask of that form that stands before you, who are you? What part of me are you? There will be a beautiful answer that will come. We have spoken that this year is a year of miracles. You will begin to see other life forms that you have perhaps only considered in what you would call the imagination. You will begin to see other life forms in reality upon this plane. You will begin to see, already some of you have begun to sense the life forms around you. You have known communication. You will bring that forward so that it will be visible. Because you desire now to know all parts, as you would call them, as parts, all parts of the one self that you are. Already you are being most busy in calling in information from what you would see as the Pleiades, from Andromeda, other constellations and universes, information from space brothers. Sometimes you receive this information in a welcoming way. You say, oh, this is exciting. This is really great. This is mind expanding. And it is. Other times you call in messages that have, first of all, the opportunity for abiding in fear, allowing you to sit with that message and to say, how can I see this in a new light? Already I know how to judge it in fear. I know that one well. Already I have been up to here, over the head, in fear. And you know fear very well, intimately. Now you are saying, I desire to know what is beyond the fear. Can there possibly be something that is uplifting? Can there possibly be something of holiness? So you are bringing in messages through various means, mediums, channels, brothers and sisters, even through your own writings and communication, that allow you to know that this is not all there is, that you are very much the one self expressing as the many. If you will receive it, there is nothing to fear, even from what you would see as other life forms. But indeed, if one were to manifest before you right now with 4 heads, and you had your eyes closed, and that one were to speak to you in mellow tones, how would you receive that one? In mellowness, in gentleness. And if you were to open the eyes and behold four heads, there would be a bit of judgment. What I'm saying here is to go beyond appearance, to allow yourself the deep breath, the one deep breath that allows you to come to your center again, that allows you choice, the simplicity of one deep breath. And then to ask, how can I see this anew? Perhaps the appearance is only that. But I will share with you that in your days to come, and they are not afar off, you will behold other life forms that are a bit different than what you have known recently. And if you will allow yourself to go beyond appearance, initial judgment, and to listen with the heart, you will know that that one is the child of the Father. For indeed, that one is yourself. Now there is much of information that you are calling forth. Many books. Every month in your timing, every week in your timing, there's a new book that comes out with new information. And there are times that you call to me, to the other masters, as you see masters to be, and yet I behold a master right here. And you call out, wanting to know, what is the truth? How can I sort all of this out? Because this information does not exactly agree with this information. Is one the work of the devil? The evil one? I hear that question often. Jeshua, Jesus, do not allow the evil one to tempt me. Well, beloved ones, there is no evil one outside of yourself who is going to tempt you. You are allowing yourself opportunity to contemplate possibilities. And the Father does not judge any of your choices. He knows that you, as the Holy Child, are playing. Much as you see the small ones who will play in their sandbox. And they try out different roles, they try out different drama. They try out making different structures in the sand. And sometimes the structures stand and sometimes they fall down. The Father does not judge any of your choices. And there is not an evil one that has come to lead you astray. You are allowing yourself a treasure store of infinite possibilities to play with. More and more, seemingly, as every day goes by. Because you want to know how unlimited you are. So you bring forth writings that are exciting, that allow the mind to expand. You bring forth writings and messages that you judge initially, perhaps to be a bit fearsome, because you desire to know accelerated energy. You want to know your energy. You want to know that there is something beyond just the energy that activates what you identify with right now. And you know that in moments of joy, in exhilaration, exaltation. You also know it when you are in a place of fear. You know accelerated energy. Therefore, you bring forth times of fear in order to connect with the accelerated energy that you are. Now, in this plane, where there is belief in duality, it can be known in joy, or as you would receive it initially, it can be known in fear. But the energy, beloved ones, is the same. It allows you to touch a speeded up experience of your own energy. Are the messages that come through now true? Yes. They are all true, with a small t. They are all part of your adventure, and they serve you well. For every message that you read in a book or that you hear at a workshop, you have called forth into your consciousness and accepted it for that moment in order to bring you to a place of remembrance of the wholeness that you are. Even when you will wrestle with various messages and wonder what they are all about and say, this cannot be true, there is a message in that that allows you to come to clarity about who you remember yourself to be. For if there are messages that would suggest to you that you are the victim, that you are weak, that there could be forces outside of you that would come and take over you, you have those messages coming. You can read them in your books. It allows you to sit and to ponder and to come to the place of clarity and to say, is this my truth or is this someone else's truth? Do I feel that I am powerless? Do I feel that there could be an invasion of space brothers who will come and establish their order because they are more wise? Is that my truth? And you get to sit with it and to abide with it until you come to the place of saying, that does not fit in alignment with who I know myself to be. I know that I am my Father's holy child, and I know that I bring forth all of the reality that I experience. And I know that if I bring forth the space brothers, they are my brothers, and I will know them in holiness. If you will receive it, there are many of the space brothers, yourself in other life form, awaiting your invitation and your welcome to come and to be known in this dimension, upon this plane, to work in concert for the remembrance of home, the atonement, the at-one-ment. Now, where are they now? Right here. Just beyond what you would accept as reality in this moment. Now, will you all experience the space brothers? Will you all experience other life forms coming to be with you in this dimension? No, it is not necessary. Some will, because you want to know your expanded self and your expanded expression of the life of the Father. But others, that is not their point of focus. That is not what they are calling forth to remember in that way. And so you may see a space brother, a space sister, you may see the beautiful radiant being, and you will go to share that with someone, and they will say, does not compute. I don't know what you're talking about. You've already experienced that, of having a revelation, an expansion of understanding and trying to share it with someone else. And they said, does not fit into my reality. Come back some other time. So you've said, okay, just as I have said to you, okay. For indeed, there is not time. Time is part of the drama, the adventure. Time is part of this aspect. And it does not even exist in other dimensions. So therefore, if a brother or sister says to you, it does not make sense to me, you may shake the dust off of your sandals and walk on to someone else who is interested in knowing that. Not in judgment, but just in saying, oh, okay, I will find someone else who wants to play with me in the same sandbox. And that is what it is. For if you will receive it, and I know that you will, you are all the holy child of the Father, and you are playing. That is what this is all about. Even when you play with your drama, that is what you are doing. You are playing with it and in it. So when you get to that place, you can take the deep breath and you can stand back a bit and you can watch the self that you have thought yourself to be in the midst of whatever drama is going on. You say, wow, he's playing that part really well. And it restores the lightness, the humor, once again to your consciousness. But all of you have found yourselves very much embroiled from time to time in decisions, in questions, relationships, where you have come nose to nose with that situation. You have found yourself right in it, that close. So close that you couldn't see anything unless the eyes were crossed, right? And that's what happens when you get nose to nose with something. You get the crossed eyes that doesn't give the true vision. But as you would allow yourself to stand back a bit and to behold, it gives a new perspective, a holier perspective, because you perceive more of the wholeness, right? And you don't feel yourself quite so enmeshed in what is going on. You can even play with the idea that perhaps you are, right in this moment, expressing with another life form beyond what you know here. Wow. For as I speak to you in this manner, I am not limited in any of my speakings. I am not limited to any time, any method of expression. You, yet with the identification with time and linear time, would see it as a bit of a miracle to be able to be in expression and in conversation with many all at the same time. And yet, That is what I am doing, even as you see this time to be. And if you will receive it, it is what you are doing at the same time as you know a slice of time to be. That is why you have found yourself doing an activity, and you have had part of the mind, as you would call it, focusing enough on that activity that you could do whatever it was. And the other part of the mind is somewhere else. You're contemplating where you're going to go, who you're going to speak with, what you're going to do in the next day, how to get there, who you should call, what you should put on your shopping list, whatever. And in the midst of that, all of a sudden there comes an idea, even a message from someone else. They pop into your mind, as you call it, and they say something to you, and you think, where did that come from? I haven't thought of them in a long time. Wonder what they're doing. There you are. You are doing an activity that doesn't take a whole lot of your attention, as you see it. Perhaps you are washing the dishes. And you are contemplating what you're going to be doing on your computer later. And this idea all of a sudden comes and runs through the mind of, oh, so-and-so is thinking of coming to meet me. I get a feeling that this one is going through something. I get a message from this one who says, will you please call me? And you call that one, and they say, I was just thinking of you. How did you know that? You know that because there is no separation. Exactly. Very good of you to turn up this evening, you see. It would not have been complete without you.
Thank you.
Because there is no separation. There is one self. Now, what we have just spoken of, you can extend to what you would see as other dimensions, other times within this dimension, other life forms. You know this well. You can speak to the leprechauns. And you receive back from them communication, do you not? They tell you how they are feeling. They suggest to you ideas that you say, where did that idea come from? I wasn't thinking that idea, you say. And they say, well, we were. And you have a conversation. Some of the other brothers and sisters who are more focused on what they would call reality would say, this one's a bit expanded. Well, maybe that's not the word they would use. Other dimensional life forms very much exist. An infinite variety. Because you are calling them forth. You are the creative holy child in expression. The one child of the Father. And you have desired to know expression. To know how it feels to create and how it feels to be activating that creation. And then you have said, no longer do I want to know just part of who I am, but I want to have dialogue, communication with my other parts. You have done this in what you would call other lifetimes, as you know lifetimes to be, where you have been the mystic and the seer, where you have been the shaman, where you have sat and allowed your reality to expand. And you have communed with the spirits. You have brought in wisdom beyond what the brothers and sisters have focused upon. You are doing it again in this day and time. You are saying, I will be a portal. I will be a door. I will be an open door to allow information to come in, to share with the brothers and sisters so that they may know that there is more to the Holy Child than just 1996 and what seems to be going on right in front of them. Other dimensional life forms. That is you. You are allowing yourself to come alive and to experience the communication with all of yourself. When you see the pictures now that your scientists bring forth for you of the light of other galaxies, other star systems that you would yet believe to be far from you, in the moment that you contemplate that light, you are one with that light. For you bring it into your awareness, and you may claim it as your own. The beauty of the Holy Child in expression, not only with this life form, but with the life form known as the star. That is your light brought in to manifestation, expression, as light. The light of the star, the energy that could be measured. That is who you are. And now you are allowing yourself to play with the possibility of communication and dialogue with all other parts of the one self, and to allow those other parts, as you see them yet to be somewhat separate, distinct, to share with you their knowledge, their wisdom, their piece of the whole, their piece of the jigsaw puzzle. If you would think for a moment of one of the largest animals that you have seen upon this plane, take for instance, which you have known in a history known as the dinosaur. Large, ponderous being. And within that life form, there are millions upon millions and millions of cells sustaining that form. And each cell has intelligence. Each cell is activated by light. Each cell that makes up the form of the dinosaur sees itself in individuality as one point of light. And yet, every cell is in communication, in functioning as the whole. You, as you see yourself to be an individual, activating a single cell, you feel yourself to be a point of light. You identify with that self. And yet you are part of the whole that is larger and more expansive than the form of a dinosaur. What you are doing now is allowing yourself, as you see yourself to be a single point, to communicate with all of the other cells of the whole. And to say, if, for instance, you identified yourself as a cell within the leg of the dinosaur, to say to the back of the dinosaur, how does it feel up there? Do you feel the warmth of the sun? What is the perspective from your place as a cell upon the back of the dinosaur? What does it look like to you? And that is much the same as the information that comes in from what you term the space brothers and other beings. There is another perspective. Now, is the perspective and truth of the cell of the leg more true than the perspective and truth of the cell on the back of the dinosaur? No. Different visions, exactly. So when you have the messages coming from the space brothers, or from the ones who live within the form of our Holy Mother, the Earth, or from any other dimension, and there is a message that seems different from what you have known, allow yourself to play with it. Try it on for size. See how that perspective feels. But do not judge your knowing or your vision to be inadequate or wrong. Know that you are seeing from a point of perspective that is in a different place than what they are experiencing and expressing. And you are now coming to the place where you can put aside the fear born of many lifetimes of identification with physicality. And you can put aside the fear long enough to allow yourself the perspective of the brothers and sisters who are activating other life forms, even what you would see as other dimensional life forms. For you have said now, I am courageous enough. And the ego says, who are you kidding? You know that one. But in truth, you are courageous enough now that you are wanting to play with the possibility of knowing other selves of the whole. You are willing now to play with the possibility that perhaps you are very much akin to the other selves of the whole, even though they may have another perspective and another vision. In truth, you are courageous enough, because if you did not have the courage, it would not even occur to you to even contemplate and to play with. But the ego, your companion of many, many lifetimes, serves you well. It is the one that will come and will ask of you, where are you abiding now? What is your truth now? How do you feel about this? Are you sure? That is its whole function. It is not a separate energy, not a separate entity that has come to trip you up. You do not have to do battle with it. It has come because you have asked it to be part of your drama upon the stage in this time. To be a messenger so that you may have clarity about where you are abiding in that moment. Not with any judgment, but just to say, look, what image you are holding of yourself right now, and what image you are holding of the brothers or sisters, or of a new idea, a new concept, a new possibility. So the ego serves you well. You have asked it to be your companion. You have said, hey, I am royalty, which you are, but I want you to be my servant, and I want you to follow around with me. And whenever something comes up, I want you to be the voice that says, are you sure? How do you know that? So that I can stop and I can be vigilant and I can see where I am abiding in that moment and whether it is the truth of my being. And if it is not the truth of my being, I may choose anew until the next moment when the ego speaks again. After a while, you will find yourself abiding in the heart of love. Love of self, love of brothers and sisters, the love of the Father, to the place where you will no longer need or call forth the questions of the ego. And you will not even notice that it is not with you any longer. It serves you well. Other dimensional life forms, how creative you are, how creative I am. For indeed, I know myself to be unlimited life. I know myself to be one with the Father. I am His life in expression, not only here, in what you see this point of consciousness to be. For yes, I did take upon myself the form of man. Many times, more than once. More than what your histories and your scriptures have recorded. For I have enjoyed expression upon our Holy Mother, the Earth. But I also know myself to be unlimited life that can take form in other dimensions at will. The same as you know when you allow yourself the times of imagination, the times of meditation, the times of what if, well perhaps, and you play with those ideas. You know, somewhere deep within you, what it feels like to express as the thought in water that is not water. In an energy field that would be akin to what you know as water, and yet it is not water. And you know yourself to be a thought that instantly activates that water. You know how that feels. You know how it feels to be the brightest star and to shine with a radiance beyond 10,000 of what you know the sun to be. You can imagine that.
No, I can't.
Well, you may work on it.
It's a little much right now.
In your moments of unlimitedness, when you have asked, who can I be? Who am I? What would it feel like to fly as the eagle, to land in the very top of the tree, and to be the cell on the back of the dinosaur, to see the vision from that perspective? You know even now as we speak of the view from the top of the tree. For an instant, you can see yourself there. And how the grass would look from a distance. The building, the ones walking about. You would say, but Jeshua, it's because I've been up in one of what is called the skyscraper that gives me a perspective of looking from a great distance. So I can remember what that looks like. I know how it feels to look down on the ones of my brothers and sisters who seem to be as the tiny ants, because there is such a distance. And you have brought that forth in your experience. Even the skyscraper, aptly named, you have brought that forth out of your belief in what you can create. Now, beloved one, even what you would see as a skyscraper is energy in form, is it not? Is it another life form? Yes, it is. For even what you would see as your mountains are alive. There is energy. There is movement. It may seem a bit slower than what you feel that you are able to do as you would climb the mountain. But that mountain is very much the energy of the Father, and you have brought it into manifestation as the creative child that you are. And that mountain, your great beautiful mountain that you have out here, that is capped in beauty, is alive as energy. It is a life form. And you see it in this dimension. You behold it as a certain form in this dimension. And if you will receive it, there are others of the brothers and sisters who perceive it in another dimension. For there is much of life that is within the form of the mountain. You have gone within that mountain. Not in what the brothers and sisters in this point of focus would call this dimension. You have gone within it, in what would be labeled another dimension. Have you truly been there? Yes, you have. You are other dimensional life form as you have gone within that mountain. Yes. You are truly the unlimited one self. And it excites the heart, does it not? Yes. For no longer are you held to just this expression, to this life, as you know, this personality, this body, this time to be. And great that is. For you are coming home in your willingness to play with the communication with all of the other selves of the whole. You may welcome all of your other parts. Invite, out of your courageousness, invite other selves of the one self to come and be within your awareness. Welcome yourself home again. You would say, but Jeshua, isn't there something I need to do first? Should I not do a certain ritual of putting the light around myself? Should I not burn at least one candle? Perhaps a dozen. A dozen would be better. And maybe I should have at least one white one and a couple of purple and maybe a green one. A green one for balance. A bit of incense. Incense is good. Must need that. No, beloved ones, there is nothing to fear. Allow yourself to claim the holiness that you are. Allow yourself to come from the place of the heart of wholeness. Allow yourself the deep breath that brings the awareness of the center of your being, the heart. And then invite communication with the other selves of the one self. And when it happens, don't say, oh my goodness, my God, it happened. And all of a sudden it disappears. You've all done that. You've played with the idea of the out-of-body, and you have begun to release the identification, the very strong identification with the body, and you found yourself floating just above the body, perhaps looking down at it. Oh my God, and you were back in it again. No, this can't be true. And in that moment, you were back with the identification. But I will share with you that if once you have felt a releasement from the very close identification with the body, if you have once felt it, you can do it again, and again, and again. Now, does that make you any more spiritual? No. But it is fun to play with. And it allows you to go beyond what you have felt the boundaries of self to be. Other dimensional life forms, yes, you are. And now you are playing with expression as the unicorn, as the leprechaun, as the space brother, as the space sister, as the light that activates all of the universes and allows you to remember home. That is what it is all about. So when you bring forth the messages through the various servants of the Father, and you read the books and you attend the workshops, and they bring you information from beyond this point of focus, first of all, congratulate yourself and say, wow, look at what I am playing with. How unlimited I'm beginning to see myself. And play with the messages to see where you are abiding with them, whether the fear comes up or the excitement comes up that says, yes, I want to know more. I want to travel in consciousness to those places, to have communication with those ones. I know it to be a truth. So you may take all of the information that comes to you and you may call it good. You do not have to fear that there is going to be something that will trip you up. All of it you call forth because you desire to know who you are, and you want to know all of who you are. You are the beautiful radiance of the Holy Child, the one child of the Father. I and the Father are one. You have heard me say that many times. You and the Father are one, or you would not be expressing as the life that you are. Therefore, know in great joy that you are all that you would behold, all that you call forth. And as the Father looks upon his child and loves his child, you may look upon all of your creations and love them. Other dimensional and this dimension.
But I wonder what's the motivation for anyone to speak about or write books about beings that are not of this world that would seemingly be a threat to human beings.
Yes. It is what we have spoken of earlier, that you are bringing forth now many messages. You are bringing them forth, if you will accept and receive my words. Even what you see coming through another person, you have called forth into your consciousness for a purpose. You may hear the messages in fear, in separation, and we have spoken as to how that is the habitual reaction, known well, born of many lifetimes. But you are bringing forth those messages in order to re-examine the underlying belief. So you will have many, many different scenarios and scripts of the drama. You will have ones who will come and give forth great complexities of drama, of warfare in the heavens, of ones who will come and take over our Holy Mother, the Earth, and will do away with what you have known to be life in this manner, who will inflict upon you their will because they have superior intelligence, etc., etc., etc. You are the ones who are calling forth those messages because of your great courage, because you are saying, I am ready now to play with ideas that in the past were so fearsome that I could not even contemplate. I would not even think of it. I would hide in a hole, a cave somewhere, and I would do all of my rituals and pray to a God somewhere afar off, and I would let the rest of the world go by because I could not handle it. Now, I am asking for all these messages to come to me so that I can discern, first of all, where I am abiding in my belief about myself and about what life expression is all about. And secondly, having discerned what my belief is, then to ask of myself, is that the truth of my Father? And if it is not the truth of my Father, then I have the opportunity to choose anew. I can either stay, and there is no judgment in it. I can either stay in the place of fear and play with that drama. For sometimes you want to play with the drama. You want to be in a place where you could say, there's going to be something really threatening that's going to happen. Oh my goodness. I'd better prepare, I'd better do X, Y, and Z, or I'd better even start with the ABC of it. I'd better be prepared. Or you may say, I've had enough of the drama. I've had enough to handle with all of the daily activities of certain things, and I'm going to give over all of that drama to the Father and say, okay, Father, that may be a drama for some, and if it's a drama that I'm participating in, I know that only good will come out of it. Therefore, you handle it. There were times in my lifetime that I spoke to my Father and I said, I of myself, I cannot handle this, but I give it over to you, to the expanded one self that I am as you. I and the Father are one. And I knew that of my small self, the self that was in a specific limited point of focus, known as individuality, I knew that I could not handle it. I didn't know. Even on the last evening before the crucifixion, as I spoke to my Father in prayer, my feelings of the small self coming from the place of identification with the body with expression upon this plane. My feelings were one of fear and inadequacy. And I asked of the Father, if there could be another way, let this cup pass from me. But I added, because I knew that I did not know all of the whole vision. Nevertheless, not my will, the small will, but thy will be done. So if there are times when you feel that you cannot handle all of the drama, but you see others of the brothers and sisters getting very much embroiled in it, and they're having a great time in fear, in panic, in preparation, then say, okay, I allow. But for my part, I give it to the Father. I give it to the Spirit of wholeness, of holiness. For I of myself can do nothing, but the Father within me. He knows and can handle everything. So why do ones bring forth messages like that? Because you have asked them to. That is the bottom line truth. Because you have asked them to.
I specifically.
You specifically. And all of the collective brothers and sisters, for indeed there is more than just one who is reading the book and more than one attending the workshop. But you have called it forth into your consciousness because you want to know where you are abiding. What is your belief now? You want to have clarity about it. It is what we have been speaking of this whole evening. You bring forth many channeled entities. You bring forth many messages, each one with their own slant perspective of what they will give you to play with. It is because you, in your creativity, are calling forth other ways to look upon things, other ways to experience, to try it on, to see how it fits. This is a grand time for expanded information, as you would call it. A grand time where you are receiving messages, not only from the one who sits next to you, who says, you know, I've got an idea, I think this is probably what's happening here. But you also call it forth from the beings that you do not even see activating a form. You call it forth through a method that many of the brothers and sisters would not even believe. That another intelligence that you would identify as separate from yourself can speak through a body that you see standing in front of you. You call it forth in many, many ways because you are now wanting and desirous to know all of who you are and to know the great love of the Father that welcomes you home. That is truly what the journey is all about. But on that journey, you will have many adventures. You will travel, seemingly, into many dimensions. And you will speak with many of the selves that the one self expresses as. Many of the selves that you are. So when you receive information, and it seems to be not of benefit or not of nurturing, you may ask, where am I abiding in the moment when I have called that forth? I'm playing with the idea that there could be something other than my Father, something other than unconditional, unlimited love. And that is exactly what you are doing. You are playing with it. In other words, it is not then to sit in great judgment of self and say, oh, what a sinner I have been. It's to say, oh, okay, that's where I am with it. Aha, the light dawns. Well, if my Father is all love, all wisdom, all power, not the power of the world, but all power of beingness. And if I am his holy child, and you are, then do I have to worry about other forces outside of me? No. There is nothing that is outside of you. Even the messages that come through that would depict a great drama and scenario of possibility, of war, it is not outside of you. You have brought it in your consciousness right then so that you can look upon what you are playing with. Much the same as your small one would play with a toy and would want to know, is this engine red or is it green? Does it have 4 wheels or does it have 6 or whatever? You play with it, and it's not in judgment. So you may rejoice with every message that comes to you. And if there is a message of great drama, of impending doom, you may say, how creative I am in this moment for bringing forth that idea. And if that is part of the drama upon my stage, it's really neat. I can't wait to turn the page and see what else there's going to be with it. As you allow yourself to abide in the heart and to look upon everything with allowance and with love, it transforms even what you have seen to be fearsome. And you find yourself in a new script. You find yourself coming from a new place. And the ones who are participating in the drama with you, the ones who are reading the script, they have to adjust. They have to do what you call the improv all of a sudden. For they will say to you, what page are you on? And they will have to flip forward somewhere to see where you are. So allow yourself to abide with all of the messages in peace. For indeed, no longer do you have to scurry about to protect and to preserve the body. It has been my grand joy to converse about the topic of the evening, which has pervaded even the questions in this part of the evening. Your expression of life form in this dimension and all other dimensions. For indeed you are not limited. Whatever you decree manifests. And as you decree for peace and order and harmony and holiness, it will come forth. Beautiful you are. So be it.
I heard the river speak to me of fearlessness and reality, and in turn I set it free and give voice to thee. Flow, don't mind where the course may go. Every motion is toward the sea, each movement is toward home. Flow. I heard the river speak to me of timelessness and eternity, and in turn I set it free and give voice to thee. Flow, don't mind where the course may go. Every motion is toward the sea, each movement is toward home. flow. Don't mind where the course may go. Every motion is toward the sea, each movement is toward home.